Okay, this is 6.1. This is the last unit before Christmas break. So let's go over how to solve absolute value. You have to have nothing outside the absolute value. There's nothing outside the absolute value on this one. So this one we can just solve. Here we have something outside the absolute value. So I take 12 plus 3x equals 6, and 12 plus 3x equals negative 6. I set it equal to the positive and the negative, and then I solve. So 3x equals negative 6, x equals negative 2, 3x equals negative 18, x equals negative 6. Okay. Here I have to divide by 3 to get rid of it first. So I have the absolute value of x minus 2 equals 5. Now, x minus 2 equals 5. And x minus 2 equals negative 5. So x equals 7. X equals negative 3. Okay. All right, so now we're going to talk about graphing exponential functions. See, this is the exponent right here. The exponent is x. That means the exponent can be anything. So we do a data table, an input-output table, and we make x anything we want, and then we solve for y. All right? So when x is negative 2, that makes the negative 2 goes right here. Right? Negative 1 goes right here. The 0 goes right here. The 1 goes right here. And then the 2 goes right here. Okay. So we just made these numbers up, but now we're going to solve. 4 squared is 16. That's easy. 4 to the first power is 4. 4 to the 0 power is 1, because anything to the 0 power is 1. But now we have 4 to the negative 1. What is 4 to the negative 1? Don't we have to turn this into a fraction? So this is really 1 over 4 to the first power, which makes it 1/4. Here, this is going to be 1/16. Yes. So there we go. That's how we solve these. And then we need to graph it. So negative 2 is at 1/16. I don't know where 1/16 is. I'm just going to put a dot here. 1/4. Okay. Now 0 is at 1. I can do that one. There it is. 1 is at 1, 2, 3, 4. And 2 is at 16. I can't get up to 16, so I'm just going to put a dot right here. And here, ladies and gentlemen, here, that is your graph, and that is exponential growth. How do I know it's growth? Because it's going up, isn't it? Yeah, it's going up. So this is exponential growth. That's how we do this. Now, I'm going to skip. I'll be back for you guys, but for the video purposes, I'm going to skip. You just fill in the x value and you figure out what your, what your graph is going to be. So you'll have time to practice that. We're going to go back and do it in class a little more. But for right now, I want to get this done so we can have the video online and keep the video short. So the general form of an exponential function is what you just saw. A times b to the x power. And this is just hokumumunkama. B is bigger than 0. B is not equal to 1. All right? So this number is bigger than 0, not equal to 1. Okay, whatever. A is the initial amount. That's important. A is your initial amount. B is your constant multiplier. So A is your initial amount. B is your constant multiplier. That's what you need to know. Changing the A value and the B value will transform the graph, obviously. So, here's what we need to know. When we have a positive, this is changing from a positive exponent to a negative exponent, right? What happens? This is constant what? This is growth. This would be what I would call decay. Decay. So, when the power changes to a negative, the graph decreases. When it's negative, the graph starts high and goes low. When it's positive, the graph starts low and goes high. Okay, now here we go. Describe the transformation that occurs when the function is multiplied by a negative. What happens when this is negative? What happens to your function? It gets inverted over the x-axis, right? But I'm going to say the y-intercept changes from positive to negative. So your y-intercept here is now negative. Here it was positive. So it does get inverted. It gets flipped over the x-axis, but your y-intercept is negative when you multiply by a negative. Okay? And then here, when you multiply this by 3, when you multiply it by a constant, what happens to your y-intercept? It increases, yeah. So your y-intercept changes. If it was a negative number, it would be inverted and it would change to a negative y-intercept. This it moves it up. It goes up because it is increasing at a faster rate. And this is just an introduction. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel free to come in. Practice that. Ask your questions. Love you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.